What's that shit doing on the floor? Oi, piss off. You right there, mate? Hey cunts. Welcome back to another review. Today we're talking about Ember Lab's Kana, Bridge of Spirits. And it is Kana, I'm pretty sure that's how they say it in the game, so fuck you. This review is super late. There's been so many games that have come out at the end of this year. I've just been playing game after game, writing scripts, fucking recording footage. I've got like 5 ready to come out. I guess I should probably say in the last time since my last review, I've also been married, so there's been that going on as well, which has delayed some videos. I only found out the other day off a mate that this is actually the studio that made that awesome Majora's Mask animation a few years ago. Which is kind of funny, because Kana does take some inspiration from Majora's Mask, from the focus on masks itself, to sort of helping tormented spirits find peace. And this is actually their first outing as a game developer, which, spoiler alert, they've fucking done a good job. And again, much like Majora's Mask, the story is quite dark. It's that sort of light-hearted take on death, I guess you could say. It still manages to tell like a hopeful, heartfelt story about how death is just a part of life and coming to terms with that. I won't go too much into the story, as that's something I think you should play for yourself. If you're sort of on the fence about this one, definitely check it out. Ember Lab have seriously pulled off something amazing here. The visuals are just breathtaking, and sort of reminiscent of what I remember the Jak and Daxter games looking like when I was younger. I often found myself walking around the environments, and rather than, I guess, doing what I was there to do, I'd sort of look around and be like, man, this is fucking sweet. On the topic of visuals and stuff like that, there's also these little creatures called rots. They're like the little black creatures you've probably seen in all the marketing material. They're the cutest little fucking things ever. Like, you get little hats to collect for them. It's the most adorable thing ever. The soundtrack is also like knocked straight out of the park. It's somber when it needs to be, but it can also sort of bring in like cheery tones when that's called for. It's just a really, really good soundtrack. I remember when I first launched the game and I started hearing some of the music, it made me think of Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. I don't know what it is about the music, it just gave me the same vibes as that soundtrack. And that's a good thing, because I love the soundtrack for that game. The combination of the visuals, the soundtrack, the voice work, and the amazing story, it creates this experience that's engaging, and it holds you like not a lot of games can these days. But to truly be a good game, you have to have good controls as well, and being a 3D platformer style game, you need to nail that. I think they have here. The platforming and the general combat feels really nice and fluid. One thing I did have an issue with, I'll say, is the parry controls in combat. They did feel a bit clunky, I'll say. That could just be me being a scrub though. I could never really get around that parry sort of mechanics in these Dark Souls style games. And I guess that is a perfect transition to jump over to the difficulty in this game, because yes, it is fucking hard. I usually like to stick to like a middle of the road sort of difficulty when I'm picking difficulties in games. And if a game pulls me in that much, I'll jump back in for a hardest difficulty playthrough. Kana did shatter this flow for me though. I started the game on what's called Spirit Guide difficulty, which is the middle of the road difficulty. So starting out, the game was not exactly a pushover, which is good, like you want a bit of challenge, but I got a bit of a shock when I got to the first boss battle. I must have spent upwards of like an hour versing this boss, and I was actually talking with a mate in Discord about how he's had troubles with that boss as well, and he ended up bumping the difficulty back down. I did end up dialing difficulty right down to story mode, which is the lowest difficulty. I have a feeling if I did learn the parry controls a bit better, I would have managed, but it absolutely kicked my ass. I'm really glad I did too, because every boss after that was even harder, and yeah, that would have been fucking insane. Especially the last boss, that was ridiculous. If you've done that on any other difficulty than story mode, please let me know in the comments how much of a fucking scrub I am. There's even a difficulty past the middle of the road called Expert Spirit Guide for all those fucking masochists out there. And I don't want this to be like a con for the game, like a downside. It's definitely not. There's definitely a place for punishingly hard games, considering so many Souls-like games exist. They're just not for me. I've never been a fan of that style of game. But the fact they include a scrub mode for people like me, you get a plus for that. And I will say this game did feel a bit on the shorter side, but I don't really mind that anymore. I hate games that just fucking drag on just for the sake of playtime. Like, come in, tell your story, show us your vision of what you want, and fuck off. And Kana really did feel like a realization of Ember's vision, without any padding or unnecessary bullshit. Looking back at my recorded footage, I think the playthrough was about 10 hours, give or take. Probably the only downside I have for this game, and it's a fucking massive nitpick that's sort of relevant to me and maybe to you. I like to collect my games physically, as you can see. This game only released digitally, but there is now a physical version and it should actually be here soon. Just a quick editor's note, my copy of Kana came in the mail while editing this video, so ignore this point. Anyway, enough about that, that's just me crapping on. In conclusion, I think I'd have to give this game an 8 out of 10 rots. In short, Kana Bridge of Spirits is a seriously impressive outing for the first game from Ember Labs. I'm definitely keen to see what they come out with next. It'd also be really cool to see more of Kana, because I could see this IP becoming a bit of a thing. I can see it continuing on past one game. Thank you so much for watching and hanging around while I've been just uploading my stream replays to the channel. I appreciate you sticking around, and if you want to check out some of those stream replays live, down below is the link to my Twitch. I'm over there live every Wednesday, 8:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard or Daylight Savings Time, depending on what time of year it is. And I've also changed my name, if you haven't noticed. I'm now Kimbo Dads, so make sure to jump across there. Check it out. We always have a good time, always a bit of banter, so if you like that, jump over. And as I said at the start of the video, there's like 5 more reviews coming down the track, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe if you're not, hit the bell, hit the like button, leave a comment, it always helps. Love your work. See you next time. Yeah, cunts.